life is fair, or is it not? When my father enrolled me to a boarding school for my secondary education, little did I know that I will end up being, I'll find out that I'm one of the smallest girls in the class. And the girls who were so big in size were also big mentally. They tended to excel in things books, while I had continuous strokes of excellency in stupidity. And this very soon reflected in my end-of-term report card, where I was a whooping position, I believe 22 out of 35, and I was scared stiff. Because you see, my father ate, dreamt, spoke, dreamt, ate, lived education. So I knew there was going to be a Mageddon that holiday. So with a lot of trepidation, I went home and I waited for the bombshell. Week 1, nothing. Week 2, nothing. And I thought, I can't bear the tension. So being the brave kid I was, I flushed out the school card from the envelope and I said to my father, Dad, you see, as usual, he had his glasses down his nose reading. And he lifted his eyebrows to the rim of his glasses. And I said, Dad, you see, I didn't do well, but I will do much better next time. You see, the girls were so big and so intelligent. And he said, mm-hmm. You see, I promise I would do better. And he went back to his book and said, Tony Nyudho for the translation, meaning, do you go to school on my behalf? And I thought, is that it? And I thought for a moment, this is so fair. I'm not getting the fight I expected. On the other hand, I thought, this was a man who was nationally recognized for his contribution in education, and he's not going to say anything about my poor performance, and he doesn't care about his baby daughter. So I thought, all right, I will show him. I will work very hard the following time, which I did. And I took position 3 out of 35. Yeah, give me that clap. So it's with great happiness and anticipation that I went for my school holiday. And I thought this is going to be 4 weeks of celebration, jubilations, and continuous congratulations. And my dad could brag. Week 1, nothing. Week 2, nothing. Week 3, and I thought, now, the holiday is now coming to an end, and I need to celebrate and be celebrated and have jubilations. I said, Dad, you see, here is my report card. I was waving it in front of him with the grace of a national flag atop a government building. And again, he's reading, glasses down his nose. Eyes at the rim. Mm-hmm. Dad, I'm number 3 out of 35. Uh-huh. Don't you remember I had to exaggerate. I was number 28 out of 35 before. Uh-huh. Dad, it's good. So now he looked up, gazed at me, and said, Oh, geratu kira na bemwewe dhoa. Translation. Unfortunately, the Queen's English, the Queen's language doesn't translate enough of the words and the meaning. So I'll do a very poor translation. Should you have taken position number 1, would you have developed a body itch? That was the end of it. I didn't get the jubilation I expected. And I thought, this is so unfair. You are not even commenting at my excellent performance. I decided there and then you would never, ever, ever see my report card again. And indeed, from second term, Form 1, my dad never saw my report card. Neither did he ask for it. Fast forward, on this day, I'm seated at the dining table completing some college paperwork. And my dad passed through the room singing loudly. You see, he was a very talented musician. He was not only could sing so well, but he was also teaching music as a hobby. And he passed through the living room, booming loudly, singing some Catholic Latin hymn. And I said, Dad, yes? Would you please drop me at college next Monday? And he said, oh, it's time. I said, yes. And then very quickly he said, oh, I have an errand to the city. I can drop you on my way. And then I thought, wow, me, the little girl, now is going to be dropped by my daddy to college. You see, I had other alternatives for transport, but there was that still little girl wanting to be taken to college by daddy. And you see, he was so used to bragging about his daughters, so I thought, here is my moment. And then there was a problem. Dad, it's not Nairobi University, it's Kenyatta University. And my dad fell out laughing to the point where he had to lean on a dining chair and then finally sat down and said, you are going to be a teacher like your father. And he thought it was so funny. And I said, no, Dad, actually, Kenyatta University has a unique degree in business, and that's what I want to do. You know, for some of you might not know, those days we had a choice of either Nairobi University or Kenyatta University, KU. And you see, KU was known for two things: graduate teachers and graduate wives. And I'm certain that my dad's interest, what triggered his interest was the teacher bit, not the wife bit, because he knows his daughters. So, and I thought, finally I'm having my nice little tete-a-tete with Dad. So I said, no, I'm going to take business. And what happened to literature? I thought you were so good in literature. Hold on a minute. When did he get to know I was good in literature? This man has never looked at my report card. So I thought maybe he was doing it secretly. So I thought, fine, okay, we'll have this conversation. But then I had a problem. Literature, Dad, have you so soon forgotten? So soon forgotten. At this very dining table, many years ago, when I was in Form 2, third term, the nuns came here and asked you for permission to release me to go back to school for one day, to be interrogated by the CIDs. You see, this is what happened. In Form 2, we had this excellent, inspiring, very intelligent teacher, Sister Agnes. With her inspiration, mentoring, and coaching, we wrote with my friends, two of my friends and I, scripted a play for the school drama festival. It was such a hit. We won through the zonal level, district level, provincial level, and even at national level. We got a whole lot of awards, a whole lot of certificates: best script, best decor, best costumes, and best actress in male role. Me. But then the chief adjudicator said, you've done very well, but your journey ends here. You can't be one of the 3 top schools. Now, how fair is that? We do so well, we get all these awards, but we are not going to be the top 3. You see, the top 3 had to perform at State House. And our play was seen to be too political and unsettling to the leadership of the day. And we got back to school very incensed and angry, and we said, the journey just begins. We decided we are going to translate this play into Kikuyu and perform it to the entire community. We announced it through all the parish churches in the neighborhood, come all, come one, come all, this is excellent play. But you imagine 15, 16-year-olds translating an English play into Kikuyu? Our Kikuyu just was so bad. So our teacher, very resourceful teacher, Sister Agnes, just had the solution as usual. And she knew some people who were very good in performing Kikuyu plays. So they were invited to come and help us with the translation. That was none other than Goge wa Thiong'o. And that was the time of the play, Gahi Kadeda. A play that was as famous and as infamous as it was infamous. He was getting in trouble with the politicians of the day. But then the more the politicians, the more he got arrested, the more people came from all over the country to watch this Kikuyu play about simple lives, about unfairness of the world, about unfair distribution of wealth, performed by the local people, what now would call the Wanjikos. And Ngugi wa Thiong'o and his cousin, Ngugi Mbirie, came and helped us with our Kikuyu. And we performed the play to a very big audience. And that was the last day of school, and we went on holiday. Remember, we are in Form 2. Now, 2-3 days into the holiday, Sister Agnes came to pick me because the CIDs wanted to know about this play. How could such little things, what do they know, write such a play? And weeks later, Ngugi wa Thiong'o was on self-exile. Michere Mogos, whose poem we were reciting in the play, also went on exile. My own lovely teacher, Sister Agnes, gave up the convent and left the country to go and study literature as a civilian. And now, Dad, you're asking me to study literature? I love my country so much, I don't want to leave it. But I promise you, Dad, one day, I will take time off and I'll go back to literature at my own pace and my own time. Therefore, I went ahead and did my business degree. And exactly 20 years later, I took my 1-year sabbatical from my busy career at Pricewaterhouse and TAC training and took my 1-year sabbatical in Hollywood to do my interpretation of literature, how to make films, TV productions. But then, I was also thinking at this time when I was getting annoyed with my dad on the literature and the singing. Why was he singing? I was also angry with that. You see, my dad, every time he had a class to teach, he would rehearse it with me and my sister. And one day, and then I always had difficulties with these lessons. And one day, he said, shh, keep quiet. Do you hear it? We said, what? The frog. You see, the frog was me. I couldn't carry a tune. Up to today, I can't carry a tune. And that was also the end of my music lessons. Many years later, as I celebrated, as of now, with my career in management consultancy, as well as career in TV and film production, with my 5 awards in TV and film production and going, I ask myself, is life fair? Fair is life. Why? In the way he treated me, in the way he tended to show no interest, he made me discover myself. He made me know my strengths and my weaknesses. He made me know this is how I focus on my strengths. He made me be very self-independent and to be me, to be accountable and responsible for my actions. And to know I need not blame anybody else for errors, mistakes, and omissions in my life because they are all mine. So proudly, as my dad's daughter. You may wonder, where is he now? He passed away about 5 years ago. Born on the same day with Nelson Mandela and buried on the same day as Nelson Mandela and the same hour. Yeah? And also, one of the memorabilia that I hold today is his presidential recognition for the contribution of education nationally. I believe he also contributed to me. Life is fair. Fair is life. It's up to you. If you want instant gratification, it's going to be very unfair. If you see it as developing your character and increasing your self-awareness and knowing who you were, I'll lend you my dad for a while, but that's the way to take life. Fair is life. Thank you.